In the past few days, all the headlines have been focused on the Australian government's cabinet meetings. The reform of the real estate sector are truly profound.
It's the most comprehensive housing strategy that we've seen for a generation.
They can be described as fundamental changes you might see once in a generation, and this would change everything. The federal government has announced that within 5 years it will build 1.2 million new homes to alleviate the housing crisis, enabling even those with middle to low incomes to have homes to live in. In an era where rents are skyrocketing, house prices are climbing, overseas immigrants are flooding in, and Australian inflation has diluted wage increases while housing costs keep rising, this brand new policy is a breath of fresh air. It seems as if the housing pressure might soon be a thing of the past. Rents will decrease over time, and house prices will become more affordable. When hearing this news, property investors' first reaction was doubt, wondering if house prices might no longer rise. The government's recent actions aim to suppress property investment and benefit middle to low-income renters and home buyers. However, what the vast majority of people need to realize is that this 1.2 million housing policy hides various issues at the social, economic, and political levels. These underlying issues are sure to render the 1.2 million housing plan unfulfillable. Every Australian may need to rethink the future trends of the property market over the next 5 years. In this video, we will conduct a detailed analysis. Who should we blame if people can't afford to rent or buy a house? And who should solve this problem? Hey there, my name is Alex. Welcome to my channel, where I share information about real estate investment, economic trends, and wealth creation. If you like this video, smash the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to receive new weekly videos. Without further ado, let's get into it. According to the official statement from the Australian government, this reform is a once-in-a-generation significant change. If it comes to fruition, it might completely alter the structure of the Australian real estate market, providing housing for lower class and transforming the overall logic of property investment. But before diving into an in-depth analysis, let's first look at the policies that have been released. Understanding them will help everyone follow along with what's to come. To solve the housing and renting crisis, the Australian federal government will build 1.2 million brand new residences nationwide, starting on July 1st, 2024, which will be completed within 5 years. This includes the previously announced plan in the federal budget to build 1 million new homes, known as the National Housing Accord. By offering cash incentives or tax relief, the government aims to encourage state and territory governments, pension funds, and builders to invest in building affordable rental houses and government and public housing across Australia. These 1 million homes will be achieved by encouraging private companies, and the remaining 200,000 homes will follow a similar pattern. The Australian federal government has budgeted 3 billion Australian dollars to incentivize state and territory governments to build houses. For every house built beyond their share of the 1 million properties, local government can receive a reward of $15,000 with up to 200,000 rewards available. One point we must clarify is that when the government says it wants to build 1.2 million houses, it doesn't mean it'll be footing the bill or providing the manpower or land. They won't be on the front lines building these houses themselves. Instead, they'll be incentivizing others to do it. Developers and builders are private enterprises. They seem to have been assigned a task by the government as though it's their responsibility to cater to the middle and lower income population. The critical issue is that government support and rewards have not fundamentally cleared the obstacles slowing down the developers and builders, such as the shortage of skilled construction workers and rising construction material and labor cost. These aren't problems that a simple reward can solve. Additionally, with many builders going bankrupt, there's no solution to that problem either. We might think that $3 billion is a considerable amount, but don't forget this money must be divided among 200,000 houses all over Australia. This sum might not even make a splash. It doesn't even consider the accompanying infrastructure expenses, including costs for roads, pipelines, and electrical grid. The primary issue now is a shortage in housing supply. There simply aren't enough homes for rent or for sale, resulting in a premium on what's available. This scarcity is largely due to the slow pace of construction. The problem isn't just about Australia's low building efficiency. It's also tied to the government's policies that have dampened demand. People are less enthusiastic about buying investment properties because the government is increasing taxes on investors. And then there are the complex procedures for land approval and community protests against high-density apartments, all slowing down the construction process. The supply of brand new apartments is now only half of what it was 5 years ago. Mirvac CEO Campbell Hannon predicts that there might be only 15,000 new apartments built nationwide in 2025. Meanwhile, Australia sees 400,000 new immigrants arriving every year. How can the housing crisis possibly ease under these circumstances? How can rents fall and housing prices drop to a more affordable level? The recently released policies haven't addressed some fundamental issues. For starters, there's not enough supply of high-density housing, and the rising cost of construction materials, along with the cumbersome approval process, only add to the developers' costs. The resulting homes are far from what anyone would call affordable. Furthermore, the government's budget doesn't include essential infrastructure costs like roads, hospitals, train stations, schools, and shopping centers. Private enterprises and state territories will have to cover these costs, inflating the expense of housing. Then there's the government's allocation of 2 billion Australian dollars for public housing construction. How many units can you build with that? At $500,000 a lot, you can only build 4,000 units. At half that cost, you're looking at 8,000 units, and these houses must be in convenient locations with good transportation links. Honestly, given the current construction costs, I find this incredibly challenging. Let's not forget that these 4,000 to 8,000 units will be scattered throughout the entire country. It's like trying to put out a fire with a cup of water. At best, gaining some good reputation among the middle to low-income communities. Is it as simple as the government encouraging more construction to solve the problem of rent and housing prices? People have to be willing to buy them first. If potential buyers don't want to buy, developers won't build. That's simple. To solve the problem of skyrocketing rents, there must be a sufficient supply of rental properties. This means more real estate investors must purchase homes for investment. If investment is profitable, if housing prices increase and rents are high, people will invest. More buyers will stimulate developers to build. The government wants to reward developers and state governments for building more houses, but it's punishing property investors, creating a bottleneck in this most crucial phase. Renters are protected with bans on rent hikes and unreasonable evictions, plus increased land taxes, stamp duty surcharges, and rising interest rate and loan costs. Property investors' profits have been squeezed considerably. In some investor-heavy areas, the proportion of investment properties for sale is higher than the average over the past 5 years, indicating that investors are pulling out. Have you ever wondered why the plan for 1.2 million homes is a 5-year plan, not 2 years or 10 years? Why does it start on July the 1st, 2024, not earlier or later? Why not begin and end as quickly as possible to resolve the housing supply issue? Putting aside the government's ability to solve the problem, let's look at its willingness. In my view, this is the government playing political games. Just think about this. The current Labour federal government took office in May 2022. With the term ending in May 2025. The current Prime Minister has been dropping hints encouraging votes for Labour in the next election. Do you see it now? If the Labour government's plan to build 1.2 million homes starting July the 1st, 2024 is abandoned by other parties when Labour is not re-elected, they can use this as a weapon against the ruling party. Even if construction starts on that date, the first batch of homes won't be ready until the second half of 2026 at the earliest. How will the housing shortage and rising rents be resolved from now until 2026? Again, by violating economic principles and not allowing rent increases? Building 1.2 million homes is merely a few words written on paper and doesn't mean these homes will actually be constructed. Without enough incentives for builders and developers, this plan may remain only on paper. In my opinion, the solution is straightforward. Reward property investors, encourage them to buy homes, and developers will be motivated to build. Ease the approvals, rezoning, and invest in infrastructure to reduce builders' burden. And soon, the rental supply will grow, rents will naturally decline. They should also focus on increasing Australian productivity instead of putting up with the daily uni movement demanding wage hikes, placing the burden to businesses and investors instead of workers. Squeezing business profits and attacking investors only worsen the economy. I personally believe that the government's current plan for 1.2 million homes is difficult to implement and won't solve the real problem. Unless an unexpected variable arises, this number of homes cannot be built in 5 years following this method. The trend of rising rents won't change substantially in 2 years. There will be fewer rental properties, rents will be higher, and those who can't afford homes still won't be able to buy them. Is this fair? Is not affording rent or purchasing a home fair? Who should step forward to solve this problem? Who should take responsibility and who is to blame? I understand the struggle of young Australians today. Although Australia has the highest salary in the world, the tax and cost of living are also very high. High income, high taxes, high rents, high property prices, high inflation, along with low efficiency output, low economic vitality, a prevailing strike culture, and tax targeting investors and businesses. All these factors combined create a unique social situation in Australia. Among the working population, most are wage earners, excluding students and retirees. So there is a natural expectation that a good job equals a good life. If life doesn't go as planned, the first reaction might be that society is unfair. Property prices are high, those who want to buy can't, and those who want to rent can't. So it is unfair, and someone must be held responsible for the injustice I've suffered. And someone must step forward to punish the wrongdoers. There's a psychological term called victim mentality, where one attributes their misfortune to others' alleged improper behavior. In this case, the victims are those who can't afford to buy or rent, and the ones blamed are property investors. You're the ones who inflated property prices, I can't buy. You're the ones who raised the rent, so I can't rent. My income isn't high, and you won't even let me buy or rent a place. That's so wrong. What's the outcome? Elect the Labour government to stand up for me. So the Labour Party takes office, targets investors, enact laws to protect tenants, gives subsidies and offers special conditions to help people buy homes. But property prices are still rising and the rents are still going up. Have you ever wondered why? Because this violates the laws of economics. The gap between the rich and poor has always existed. If you take all the money from a rich person and a poor person, in less than a year, the rich will rebound and the poor will remain poor. Even though they started at the same place, where does the difference lie? It is in the mindset. Some might say it's unfair. Hey, your victim mentality is showing again. The world has never been fair, not in the past, not now, not in the future. This victim mentality is the biggest obstacle to becoming wealthy. I understand and sympathize with the problems faced by those with lower incomes, but that doesn't stop me from investing and making money. Some may still curse investors, but I'm used to it. It doesn't affect my earnings at all, so no big deal. It even motivates me more to make money. But those who curse investors for housing justice might very well remain constantly poor. I encourage my channel fans to stand on the side of making money, but at the same time, have empathy for those who can't afford to buy or rent homes. First, earn the money, and then you'll have the ability to help others. If you've made it this far, please give a like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Turn on the notification bell to watch new weekly videos, and follow me on social media at RealCoachAlex. Hope to see you soon. Have a good one. Bye-bye.